All right, welcome everybody. This is a special edition of the Face Value podcast. We have one of our really good friends and talented photographers with us. This is Tori Howard. I'll introduce two of my best friends that I get to spend every week with.
Yes, sir.
Saint Icky, Perry
What
Lomax,
up, y'all?
and Nathan Jackson.
What's going on?
We appreciate you, Tori. We appreciate everyone for coming through.
Yes,
Definitely
yes.
check out his photography while you're here. That's the reason we're here. But to kind of just get into it and get into the basics, just for people that might not know you, people that listen to the audio recording, where are you from?
Yo, what's up? Thanks for everyone coming out today. Tori Howard. I am born and raised in Ypsilanti, Michigan, which is right outside of Ann Arbor, southeast Michigan. And I've lived in Chicago for 16 years, man. So,
What prompted the
Midwest.
move from Michigan to Chicago?
Shoo, we're going way back. All right. So I moved to Chicago actually 16 years ago after living in New York City, after trying to pursue a professional career in breakdancing. So I moved to Florida actually to work at Disney World doing this like college program, doing marketing and stuff like that. But I learned very quickly that corporate America wasn't for me, you know, because I met other B-boys that were down there. I grew up breakdancing in Michigan. So I met other B-boys that lived in Orlando and just ended up like stopped going to these marketing classes and shit and just kept working, you know?
You know what's crazy, and just to not to cut you off, but to kind of go off that point, corporate America and creative minds don't really correlate that well. It's very stifling coming from a very structured corporate job all day to try to kind of even tap into that part of your mind.
Bro, I learned very quickly. I was 17 years old when I moved to Florida. I turned 18 when I was working at Disney World, you know? It's like learning like how to write resumes and stuff that I already knew how to do, you know? They're like, if you end up like taking an internship for your like college and all that, and I'm like, you know, I want to break. Because I have people that were down there. This is before like there was any industry established for like professional entertainment with breakdancing, you know?
Yeah.
So they're working at Universal Studios, Disney World, and I'm like going to these like weekly like dance events and stuff like that at these like bars and shit. I'm like, yo, this is sick. Like I don't have to like go to college to like make a living. Like y'all work at Universal Studios and you got an arcade in your crib? Sick. You know? Anyway, I was whack at the time. So I moved back to Michigan to continue dancing, and then I moved to New York to try to do, you know, the agency thing out there and shit. And I was still whack. And then moved back. Then I moved to Chicago to join my crew, Chicago Tribe. Shout out to Chicago Tribe since 1994. And I continued dancing, and then I moved here with the intentions of moving back to New York after I got like, you know, my reputation up, met people, my resume was dope with like performances or whatever. But then I got a job working on a cruise ship, which is how I inevitably fell into like photography. So that's how I ended up in Chicago.
Hell yeah.
Long story short.
It's crazy how like Chicago, there's so much opportunity. Like you don't, I feel like you don't just kind of like get lost in the sauce in Chicago like you would in New York. You know what I mean?
And I did get lost in the sauce very quickly, bro.
Yeah.
I was working at Journeys at 14th Street Union Square, bro.
Ooh, I feel you.
I was in a mix, and I'm
boy.
like, yo, I'm only 20 years old, and I'm going to like meatpacking district, going to clubs and stuff, and I'm
Yeah.
like, nah, I'm not out here to break. Like I was street performing, I was hitting and shit with Transformers crew, and this is before I was even down with like an established like breaking crew. I was just like hitting with people that were like, they would have people come from France that worked in the circuses and stuff like that. And, you know, we'll just street performer people, but they're like the OG street performers, bro. Like the hitters that like swallow the cigarette and like blow up the smoke and all that, you know?
Yeah, yo. That's
all that shit.
Street performance shit is crazy,
Yeah,
yo.
yeah,
Like,
you know,
it's like a
like-
deep culture for real. Like, motherfuckers that, like, they share, like, something special that, like, a normal person don't share for, like, the street performing culture, bro.
Straight up.
I know mad artists that, like, do that shit all over the country for real.
Yeah, man.
To, like,
Word?
just travel around and
Oh,
just,
yeah.
like, on some street performing shit. You
Yeah,
have, like,
bro.
crazy licenses and shit, like,
Yeah, I mean, I had to. There was like license free in New York. You know, we'll go ahead and like Washington Square Park. We hit Square. We hit like Mac places, Times Square.
yeah, yo. And
You
like
had to
mad
have
like
one.
rappers and shit too. That's another thing, like, cause you would be in a b-boy, you know what I'm saying? Like that dancing is like a main pillar in hip hop for real that people like forget about.
Yeah, for real, dude. And it was amazing to be a part of that, like that street culture. You know, it'd be like 8 or 9 of us. You know what I'm saying? And like we did like 6 or 7 shows a day, and depending on how you did, you'll get a cut based on like your performance. You know what I'm saying? So if you were snapping, like you get more money, you know. But I was only making like $80 a day,
You still have love for it?
so I was whack. What's up?
You still have love for it?
For what?
Breaking?
Of course,
Hell yeah.
of course. It's always gonna be my love, man. It's breaking was my first love, man. You ever had a first love before?
Yeah.
You know, it always stays with you. You ever been in love?
For sure.
How many of y'all been in love? You know,
Oh.
you know how it feels. You know how it feels, man. But to be in love with like moving with your body, not in your body, bro, it doesn't beat that. Nothing can beat that.
Okay, it's a
Yeah, to be
beautiful
in love
thing,
with
man.
a thing is so different than a person, though, because it's like your perception of the way you love that. Because that thing's only going to treat you the same energy you give it,
For sure,
which
man,
is way
100%.
different than like a human relationship or human interaction.
100%, man. You give in what you know, you get back what you give in, you know. And I feel like with breaking, it was one of those things where it's like, all right, I don't have to play on a team. I don't have to do anything that's gonna like. I don't have to worry about like people trying to big me up. Like it's all about me. Like and whenever I was teaching dancing, I was always telling my students like it doesn't matter what you do at the battle. It matters what you do leading up to the battle. You know what I'm saying? So it's all about the trial and error at the end of the day.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
definitely. Just to contextualize it, speaking of like first loves, mine was definitely skateboarding, and that's something that was heavily documented. So we learned to film and shoot photos early, even if that was something you weren't trying to do. Do you think, because breakdancing is also something that was heavily documented, do you think that somehow led to you picking up a camera more seriously?
Oh yeah, dude. 125%, son. Like, first of all, like me picking up a camera was for a completely different reason, but me learning how to use a camera was all involved with like hip hop and breaking culture, straight up. Like before I even knew that I was gonna end up taking pictures, I was taking videos of everything. And the reason why I did that is because I have a VHS tape of myself when I was a kid, like riding a bike, crying, you know, going to kindergarten and stuff, and my dad lost it. So I picked up a video camera and just started like recording my life. And at the time I was like really into breaking and shit, you know, doing shows and all that.
Hell
And then when I started working on the cruise ships, I met someone who had a video camera that could do both, take pictures and camera, or pictures and video on the same camera. And that's how I fell into photography. But I was shooting my crew for like I don't know, I can probably show some photos from like early on, but breaking was definitely like having the eye for the dance and then learning how to capture it, for sure, bro. It's the same thing with skating, you know.
I could definitely see it in like your photos. A lot of your photos got a sense of rhythm and like movement in it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure, bro. Movement is definitely something I've been tapping into recently and actually coming to realization about. But yeah, man, I move very balletically. You know, people don't even notice when I'm taking their pictures just because of my level of perception and understanding. You know what I'm saying? Different levels of like. I mean, I lived on the floor for a long time. You know what I'm saying? So I like being more discreet with like where my camera is and understanding that. But yeah, we can get into that later.
Outside of the obvious challenges, what do you think the challenges people wouldn't recognize shooting street photography versus still photography are?
What are the obvious challenges?
That it's people moving that don't know what you're doing. If you're shooting a still photo, they know exactly what's happening. So those to me are obvious. But you, which I just from knowing you as a friend, which might be good to put out there, it's not like you're really asking these people for permission most of the time. So you're kind of putting yourself in situations where anything can happen, and you end up with a lot of good shots. So I guess what is the ratio of shots you're happy with in those moments and shots you're like, yeah, this just didn't work out?
The moments where this doesn't work out is probably 90%, 10% of like the moments where I'm like, oh yeah, dope, you know. But it all depends on where I am, what I'm shooting with, what my like how sharp I'm looking at things. You know what I'm saying? Like what the vibe is. Like if I could take one good photo a day, like shit, I'm good.
Has someone ever turned up on you for taking a photo?
Yeah, bro.
Tell us a funny story when
In
someone turned up on you.
In the Lower East Side, man. I was on a layover shooting with my boy Samo. Shout out to Samo, X-Fiends. And I mean, whenever I'm out like in a new place, like for a layover, I only got 12 hours, 13 hours. Let's go. Like, let's get it. You know what I'm saying? And whatever I see is like, I'm not going to get a chance to see this again because I'm leaving tomorrow, you know? Man, we're in the LES. It's probably like 4 or 5 o'clock. Like, sun's going down and this dude's walking out this bar. No one else is on the street. just yelling some shit with this like 6-pack of Heineken's, like, yo, I'm the king of the Lower East Side, blah blah blah. And like I'm shooting
the king.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, bet this guy's turned up. Let me go take his flick, you know. And
that's like being the king of Flatiron back in the day.
Yo,
like really trying to give that up.
Like, what are you saying, bro? Like, well, all right, whatever, man. Yeah, and dude, I mean, it's recorded. I don't have it now, but like someone put like that I was with, like put on their Instagram story and shit. That's why I remember this. But I'm like all up in this guy's face, like how I normally get when I'm in Chicago. And I crossed the boundary, bro, and he threw his beer at me, and he like walked and chased me around the block for like fucking like 5 blocks until I did.
God,
bro. Shit, and I'm like, yo, get off. That's the only time I've ever deleted a photo from someone. I normally just
5 blocks is a long ass chase, man.
It was a long time, bro. I was like, yo, this guy's gonna fuck me up. You know what I'm saying?
He was serious after 5 blocks. Like,
yeah,
all right,
bro. Like,
I'll just delete the shit.
Like, still to this day, and it's like serious as that moment has been. And the first time I've ever been provoked from anyone for taking the picture was a cop, bro. So I make sure no one knows that picture.
Yeah.
Like being caught by a cop, like I remember that shit. It was crazy. Like walking down the street, I think cop like eating donuts, like a sick ass photo.
Man.
Crazy flick. Like a flick you probably won't ever see like in life. You know what I'm saying? And he heard my shutter, and I knew like. And I'm like walking forward, and I knew this guy was walking behind me, and I like go through the flip real quick and like, delete it, and I get a tap on the shoulder, like, yo, did you take a picture? And I'm like, no, like I was doing this, and it's like, oh, like all you had to do was ask.
Nah, he would have still been on bullshit. That's like a photo of a mockery being made of you.
Yeah.
You're sitting there busting some donuts.
Yo, can I take
down.
a picture of you eating a donut, bro?
Yeah, it's like can't get much more picture perfect than that.
Yeah, I don't want you to pose for my picture. I don't like people posing for pictures, really.
I can
when I'm
say
on the
from just
street.
going to bars with you and shit around the city, you've gotten so smooth with it, where a lot of times I didn't even know you did it and I'm standing next to you. Because it's just your second nature at this point.
Yeah, and that I think that's, I mean, the root of that, like elusiveness or like being invisible came from that experience with that cop, man. So I try to test that like whatever city I'm going to internationally or domestically, bro. And internationally, it actually takes a lot longer, you know. Like I'll spend like 5 days. I spent like 5 days in Barcelona, and I didn't get like warmed up to like the way they move until like the 3rd day. And then like I have 2 days to shoot, and I'm like about to go home. You know what I mean? So, well, first of all, the language barrier. Second of all, I'm like very cautious of my shit because they're on some like super like pickpocketing profession.
Oh yeah,
there.
I've heard that shit before.
You know what I
Sure.
mean? And on top of that, just seeing the way that like a city moves. Like, you know how a city moves. Like as soon as you land in an airport in some place, you know like you're in that place.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The way people present themselves, the way that they interact, just the sounds and like how the speed of like the way they walk, what they do. Like there's a lot of things that I look at like culturally and behaviorally, you know what I mean? Like through this candid eye that I really can't really explain unless I take the picture. You know what I'm saying?
What was your favorite country to shoot in? Or what is
Man.
your favorite country?
Japan, dude.
Man.
My homies know.
Japan
dude.
look crazy. Definitely probably
Dude,
Japan.
Japan.
That's the next destination
Like,
for
it's so
sure.
many colors everywhere and shit.
Yeah.
Colors, lights,
Technology
style,
goes crazy.
like, just weird. Like they walk on the left side of the sidewalk. Can you imagine that? And they got lanes.
Oh, like
they got
that.
lanes.
Oh, like
We need lanes. It's good. That was good.
The first Japanese words that I learned was sumimasen, which is excuse me,
Oh,
because I
word.
kept walking
Yeah.
in people's way. But Japan was crazy, man. It's like I really don't remember a lot from Japan because I was always behind my fucking camera, bro.
Yeah.
And every time I left, I've been there twice. Every time I would leave, I'd be like, yo, I need to come back with a film camera because shooting digitally and having access to like thousands of photos per day takes me out of this experience.
For sure.
You know, I'm taking pictures constantly, like not giving a fuck, like in their face with the flash, you know, like
Yeah.
my perception on and like my approach to photography changed a lot as far as street photography is concerned in Japan. For my first time being there, bro.
Was Japan kind of like
crazy.
sensory overload at all?
That's what I'm saying, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For
like,
sure.
And that's one thing that I not necessarily regret, but I wish I would have the opportunity to relive.
Yeah.
Because I won't go with the digital camera, so I can absorb that sensor.
Yeah,
know
you got to
what I'm
run it
saying?
back for sure.
Yeah, dude. Like, I think I have some photos from Japan that we can talk about later, but
Sick.
it's such a complete culture shock being out there.
Mhm.
Have you guys ever been there?
No.
Nah, yo.
Damn. Yo, as soon as they open up the borders, we're out, bro. Let's go.
Yeah, just to kind of pinpoint one thing, because it's something we heavily talk about on the pod. You're talking about the style there. A lot of brands we really like are from Japan or inspired by the stuff they do in Japan. What were, like, do you think streetwear was heavily represented or all different types of style?
A lot of suits.
Oh, really?
Really?
A lot of suits.
Was
Yeah,
it?
man.
Did it vary by neighborhood or however it's divided?
Man, the neighborhoods, like, dude, it all looks the same out there. Like,
Just
they
a
have,
lot.
like, it's such a weird, like, environment, dude. It's such a major metropolis city where, like, it's just buildings everywhere. There's no grass, no trees.
Yeah.
It's just concrete and buildings and, like, people moving, like, walking really fast. You know? So, like, with the things that I would see was, like both times, like, were a lot of suits, bro. Like, little handbags. Like, they're far beyond when it comes to fashion, dude. Like, I don't really pay it. At the time, I wasn't really paying attention to street fashion and stuff like that, though, to be honest. But I remember a lot of suits, a lot of fly, like, business dudes.
Big ass suits.
Yeah, yeah. It made me was like, yo, like, where can I get one? You
Yeah, I
know?
don't know. Suits are kind of But just to put it in context, in case people don't know, for your day job, you're a flight attendant. How much of a blessing has that been to travel places for work and shoot photos?
Dude, I don't know, man. I don't know what I would do without this job, bro. Be
I mean, a lot of
honest.
people couldn't afford to go those places, all those places. That's a blessing for sure.
Yeah, man. Yeah, dude. It get the flights on the low, and hook up friends and have friends that work in the industry too to fly on the low. Like,
That's super love.
life is designed like the perfect way, and I try to take advantage of it every day, man. So yeah, I'm blessed to have this job, dude. And I encourage any other photographer who can meet a flight attendant or do something involving aviation, dude. It's sick, dude. Sometimes I don't even like taking pictures, dude. Like, but I take my camera everywhere. You know what I mean? Like, I won't even like I just got some new film recently, that Kodak 200 on 120. And I barely took it. I think I wasted like an entire roll on just like taking off in the airplane, just so I could like, because sometimes it's not interesting, you know. I'm in like very remote areas sometimes, bro.
Yeah.
Dealing with like very terrible passengers, you know what I'm saying? And what makes the job worth it is when you're on that flight for like $100 going to France. Like, oh, all right, bet this is why I do this, you know.
What are your thoughts on keeping your camera always with you with the amazing move in technology with iPhones shooting just crazy photos?
I don't know, man. I don't feel like that I have enough. I don't have control over the iPhone as much as I have over an actual camera, you know.
Are you just talking about like apertures or just deeper settings?
Just the settings, bro. Yeah, I mean, it's very instantaneous. Plus, like, I shoot to print. Like I don't know, man. Like, I've been through the phase of like shooting on like BlackBerry phones and stuff like that before I even got a camera. But like, now I know how to use a camera. Like, why would I prefer to use an iPhone, you know?
Yeah, it's because like the feel, man. I'm sure the camera is just like anything else. Like, I got keyboards at the crib, it just feel different. You know what I'm saying? I know what I want to do with it.
Exactly, bro.
You feel me?
It's the ergonomics, you know, and it, you know, when you look at it like on a meditative point, or, you know, like when you come to like concepts, they call that the flash of perception, you know? When
Yeah.
you see a photo and you know it's there, and having that connected to your camera and your shutter, you know what I'm saying? And taking it instantaneous without any thought, you know?
And I'm sure there's a level of
Contemplative photography, if you guys ever heard of it. You ever heard of that before? Contemplative photography.
Know what that mean?
Yeah, bro. So that was the first book that I bought, man. Like, at this random bookstore downtown Ann Arbor. I don't even know if we're on topic right now, but
No, we good. Keep going.
dude, this book like changed my life. I didn't even finish reading it. I gave it to a homie. Shout out Santi. You got to read that shit because I need it back. But it talks about photography and how to approach it like in a meditative state. All right, so they have like different studies in there, like on color theory, different studies on like other things. But the flash of perception is one thing that really stuck with me, man. Like, try this, bro. When you're at like dinner or chilling with your girl or your you know, if you're out there with your man or whatever, put your hand on their leg and point out another couple in the room. And whenever you see a Kodak moment or a picture, tell them to squeeze your leg. or you squeeze their leg. That's the flash of perception, and that's the connection that I have with my lens and my shutter. So you'll eventually start to like grab each other's hands at the same time as you're interacting and or visualizing like this interaction between a couple or a group of friends or something like that. So whenever I'm out in the street, I'm trying to anticipate something happening and having the shutter and like all my settings ready. An iPhone, like, it's way more intrusive than a camera. You know, if I pull out my iPhone at you, like,
Yeah,
yo, what you doing?
Yo, what
you know
the
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But if
My
I have my
thing-
camera, I can like, wow, and like, I don't know.
Nah,
pretend it's
that-
not working or something.
That's crazy, bro. Like people will notice you taking a picture of them with a phone before a camera.
That is the
Ready
world
to
we live
fight.
in, bro. That's
That
what I
shit is
prefer.
crazy,
That's
yo.
why I prefer it, man.
Yeah, and this is just something I feel like I've maybe told you before, but just wanted to tell you. What I do love about your photos is I've never really been the biggest fan of still photos. Like even the photo we take for the pod every week when we stand there, we had the guests, let's take a photo. I'm not really thrilled about those kind of photos because they seem very forced. But what I love is that you catch people in organic moments. And I think those are the moments that should be photographed because they look more natural. Like you're catching, maybe not you catch wild ass moments obviously, but you're talking about maybe a couple out to eat. If you walked up to them, let me take your photo, it's going to be such a forced photo. But if you take the photos when you see them having good moments, they would probably love to have those photos.
Yeah, man. Candid is the only way, bro. Candid's only, man.
No, for
kind of
real.
a-
Even when I pose for photos, I be trying to pose like I was Candy.
Yeah, dude. Like, you can.
How do you go
still-
about that, Perry? Break that down for us. That's how you move.
Yo, the thing is, man, like, not everything is. Oh,
You just
yeah.
mace them all day. You just give them mace moves.
You
But,
know, like
Sorry.
I feel like I've evolved so much within like street photography because I remember like I don't even remember like the first time I do remember
Yeah, talk us through that.
the first time when I was like, damn, this is a new technique that I never even thought of. When I was shooting on a Sony A7S, it had like a screen that you can like pull down. And I remember like trying to get directions from somebody like downtown at night and like pulled it down, like took their flick. It was like terrible, but like I noticed that she didn't even know that I took her picture. But I took a picture in such an honest moment where she didn't know. So why not try to get good at that? You know what I'm saying? Because I do agree with you, Kurt, man. As soon as you ask someone to like take their picture, or as soon as someone asks me to take their picture, they're automatically like trying to see what in their mind, like how I perceive them. And it becomes fake, you know? And there's ways to break people out of that, though, that I've learned, you know?
I think the more time people spend in front of a camera, they get more comfortable with it. But if it's just like random, the biggest thing is what am I gonna do with my hands? Everybody's like, "Fuck my hands, man."
Yeah,
I gotta
dude.
throw
And
up
pockets
whatever I
up.
got in
I
my
got
hand.
tired.
Throw it up.
Dude, yeah, hold your leg. No, dude, I got tired of trying to direct people that way, you know? And I most of my like portraits that I've taken have been of my friends who don't like being in front of camera, know how to be in front of a camera. So I've had to make things happen naturally. So when I'm in like other like paid work or something like that, like I try to like have conversations or have the subject doing something so they're not worried about that. You know what I mean? So it all depends on like, you know, the experience of someone else being in front of the camera, but the experience of who's behind the camera too, though, you know?
Definitely. I think an easy comparison to it would be when you hear your own voice on a voicemail and you're like, "Oh, that's my voice."
No, 100%.
When you see the photos, you're like, "Fuck, that's what I look like."
It takes
100%.
such a long.
100%. Like 9 times out of 10, when you look crazy in a photo, you're the only one that think you look
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you're your own worst critic in that moment. When you see a photo of yourself, you're like, "Oh my god." Other people are like, "Oh, that's so and so."
crazy.
Yeah. Even when we first started doing
Like
this,
that's how you look, bro.
even when
It's
we
hard
fir-
to own that shit because then you got to own it forever.
even when we first started doing this, like I could not stand to listen back to the recordings and listen to my voice, and now I don't care.
I'm not looking forward to it.
No, yeah.
You'll
I
be
mean,
fine.
you've been on before. It's just different. It's just really your voice. I read all about how your mind perceives your voice versus what it sounds like. And I just think it should sound like it sounds in your head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it sounds way better in there.
So you ever take
yeah,
some-
I just feel like I sound like a pipsqueak.
In your head too?
Yeah.
Damn.
That's probably not the reality.
Pipsqueaks?
No. It just made me
It's
think
a
about like
village term.
self-portraiture,
It
you know?
is.
Self-portraiture, you know? Like talking to someone organically like this, I'm sure like if you were talking to a camera, you would have a harder time sounding like this, right?
For sure.
If someone takes a picture of you, and you knew they were taking your picture, you'll probably look a lot different than you would if you were to take your own picture.
Yeah, definitely. And just to let people know, as much as you do shoot street photos, you're down to take on other jobs as well. You know, portrait stuff, shoot weddings and things like that.
Nah, no weddings.
Yo, you're good? Pass?
I don't market myself as a wedding photographer.
I don't think you should market.
Those
That's
are
a
three
bag.
things. They're part of three things that I just told myself that I didn't want to do when I got my camera. Like, I knew I didn't want to go into this as, like, you know, like, being a dancer and working on a cruise ship, it was dope. Like, it was like being in a movie and you're the fucking main characters. It was crazy. But it sucked because I fell out of, I lost a lot of passion for that because it was for a job. You know what I'm saying? And doing it in front of people who didn't know shit about breaking. You know what I mean? So why would I want to pick up a camera and shoot weddings when I got into this art form as like a creative expression? You know what I'm saying?
Hell yeah.
You do that only to get stuck doing it all the time, right?
Exactly. You know, like, I'm sure that now in my career, like, I can probably like market myself to be like, yo, what you see is what you get. But going into it, like, no, like, I'm not gonna learn how to use a camera to like shoot your wedding. You know. Yeah.
What's the other two things?
I didn't want to shoot events, but at the time, events in my mind was like nightclubs. You remember when the nightclubs,
Mhm.
like,
Yeah, yo.
Yeah.
iwashere.com type
Yeah,
shit?
I already know what you're talking about.
You know what I mean? Like the wide angle fisheye lens and like no one's
Yeah.
posed and stuff. Like, I
Hell
don't want to
yeah.
do none of
The
that, you know?
in people's face shit.
No, dude, no, none of that. And this is before Instagram and all that.
That was
you
like
know?
Tumblr era.
Yeah, dude. And like, I didn't want to use my camera to take advantage of people, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I see a lot of that. You know what I mean? People can definitely take advantage of somebody with the camera, and that was one of the things I didn't want to do, bro. And I stuck to all
like
those
paparazzi.
things.
Never
Have I done those things?
paparazzi.
Yes, but no, I haven't. I try to stick true to that. Bro.
True.
So it's all art, man. It's all art. Like, doing and taking on client work, it's really been fucking dope because, I mean, my portfolio is like, it's just all my street photos and stuff. Like, everything that I've done since then has just been like falling into my lap from someone like referencing or like referring myself to other people, or like seeing my street work. It's never been to do this with that client. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And it's been a great learning experience too, bro. But it all roots within like the street photography, bro, because learning how to shoot someone candidly, like for who they are, can transfer to shooting weddings or shooting events or
Man,
shooting other, you know, fashion, whatever, you know.
I really commend you for a lot of these shots. You just get like
Let's take a
such
look.
like raw, real emotion out of people. Everything just seems, I don't know, all the pictures just seem so natural.
Yeah,
It's
pick
like
up the
just like
clicker,
so-
man. Walk us through some of these.
That was a crazy day. I was doing a gig for Crevassier through Mosaic, and they wanted me to go around the streets and just take a bunch of like fashion photos of people. And this woman just started like twerking with this dude, and like a dwarf came out and like posed in front of like a Mercedes and stuff in front of me. Yeah, like, this is one of the first prints that I made of this woman. Yeah, not too much of a story after that. I just find myself in situations. What is this? Someone shooting me? Shooting? And like, the stories just come afterwards. Like, a lot of times I don't really realize what happened until I look at the photos later, dude.
Yeah, I do kind of have a question for you that kind of stems along with that. You've done galleries. Obviously, the stuff that's up here at the Hoxton is for sale. With this being an art and a passion of yours, how do you put a monetary value to it?
That's so hard, bro. It's so hard, man. It's always a constant struggle, man. First of all, like, knowing your worth is like, you know, it takes a little bit of like, yeah, I'm ill. Like, that's an ill photo. But then it's like, wait a minute. Do other people think that it's ill? Is it worth that amount? And like, I've gone a couple of experiences of like trying to figure that out. One of the most recent ones was from a commission that I had in this residency, or in this like resident building that just went up in like downtown Minneapolis. And someone saw a photo on my Instagram and wanted it to be as a permanent piece inside of like their lobby. And it's a photo of my sister. Like, you know those legs downtown Chicago?
Yes.
It was like a picture of her like in the middle of the pandemic. Like, it's a sick photo. It can be recreated. It's not as like original or like super creative, mainly because it's like a tourist attraction. So that alone made it difficult to put a price value on it. You know what I'm saying? Because I know I have other photos that have that value to it. So I like sought after like advice from other people, and like I forgot the guy's name. I'm not even gonna try to mention it, but he offered the advice of just putting a price on like the square footage of the print without having any emotion involved in it.
Yeah, I
You know
guess
what I'm
that's a
saying?
standard, but also there are different things you had to go through for different photos. There's different, like you said, meanings to them. It's weird because you have to set like a standard because you don't want to ever undervalue yourself. Because if you set that value, that ends up being your value. Because then the people that were fucking with you forever are like, oh, now you got bigger and your value just goes up, which I guess makes sense. But you just don't want to have this dramatic change and, oh, now they're 1,000 when they were 200, just to get your shit off, basically.
Yeah, man. Like I said, I've had a couple of experiences that taught me how to do that. That was just one of them. With this show at the Hoxton was like some of the photos that are that are being displayed have been $60. And they've been exhibited over and over again because of the rarity of that moment. You know, it's literally something I can't recreate. Where I've been put in these weird situations and I'm like, oh shit, this is crazy. This needs to be on a wall somewhere. You know, how do I put my monetary value on that? If I shoot something internationally, it's more money because I can't go back there, right? If it's in another city, obviously it's going to be a little bit more money. But it's all based on like it's not based on like my rep of like who I'm working for, what client I work with. It's all just based on like, yo, you're not going to see a photo like this ever again.
So what are your thoughts on prints, where it gives a lot of people access to have a piece of it?
Say what?
Prints, if you just make multiple prints, at least 50 prints of this.
Yeah, well, I have the photos I have exhibited are all editions of a certain amount. So some photos are edition of 15 or 20. And that was just advice that I got from the art curators for this exhibit, Anna Cerniglia from Jahala Projects. And, you know, she was basically just like, yo, do you want to be a part of this? And all right, send me some photos. And I'm like, I have like thousands and thousands of pictures. I don't even know what photos to choose. And on top of that, trying to figure out how much I'm going to price them. Yo, I need your advice. You know what I mean? Well, you can do additions. If you're going to do a lesser amount of additions, you can have it at like a larger amount of money. But if you do more additions, you can have a lesser amount, right? And that's basically just how I price everything. But there's photos down there that are like significantly more expensive than the other photos. But I didn't price it that way because I felt like the more expensive photo was the more rare one. I made the lesser expensive ones the more like I wanted those to be more accessible because they're more rare than the more expensive one. So like there's a photo down there. Shit, I don't even know where it's at. Of this kid on the swing. And he's doing this swing trick, right? I'm in Long Beach, just chilling at the skate park, and I see this playground from afar. And like, we don't normally pay attention to playgrounds, you know? And there's this kid doing this crazy swing, like he's doing all this crazy shit, man. And I'm shooting these like dope ass skateboarders, you know what I'm saying?
It's kind of weird to be next to a skate park and play on the swings.
Dude, it was like way over there, like and like what I was seeing was absolutely was incredible, dude. I wish I could pull this up for you guys to see this, but the photo's downstairs, and I have the video on my phone of this. I took this photo of this kid doing this trick on a swing in 2016, and for the longest time, I've been showing this photo, and I haven't been able to like really explain what the hell happened. And then 2019, I ended up like putting a random search into YouTube, crazy swing trick, Long Beach. And there's a video that was at the park the same day that took a picture or video, and it's absolutely insane. Just to kind of have that like that photo down there is like the most expensive one down there. It's the most rarest, but not a lot of people are going to connect to it. You know what I'm saying?
Heard, yeah.
Because they don't, you know, it doesn't really make sense to a lot of people. You know what I'm saying? So that also comes into accountability when it comes to like pricing things. Is how do people connect to it? And there's the third way of monetizing my work, and first, like figuring out what is a good photo to somebody else. So Miami Art Basel, my third time there are these like 4x6 photo frames that had my boy Matt, aka Adverse, screen print my logo on the back. It had like lines, you know what I'm saying? My website. Because the first 2 years I was at Art Basel, I was tired of people like asking I was a photographer and looking at my Instagram and only like scrolling once, knowing in my mind like, yo, keep going. You're gonna see some shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I just felt like easily dismissed for like the reason why I was there. You know what I mean? Like I wanted to connect with people and make people connect with my work. So the third year I went, I printed out like 15 photos of my street work. And when people would ask what I did, yo, I'm a photographer. Boom, look at this.
Yeah, yo.
Continue the conversation, you know? And I would hear in the back of my mind, like in my, like, I would like eavesdrop, yo, what? And the photos, like once they got to the end, the photos they showed the most enthusiasm for were the photos that I would give to them. And if I gave away 4 or 5 photos, that was my proof of that being a good photo.
Well, you got to think that physical approach in this crazy digital world is going to hit different. People are kind of tired of scrolling or just seeing an image because they see images all day digitally on their phone, where something's really got to impress you for you to spend more than 10 seconds looking at it. You know, and that's just the saddest part about our modern life is that you look at someone's Instagram, you're like, cool, I've seen a million Instagrams. Or you go on like dating apps. That's why dating is kind of like fickle because they're like, well, pals, fuck with somebody else. You know, 3 seconds later, before you had to like go to the bar, be like, oh, you like music, I like music. You had to like do all this shit. You know what I mean? Now you're just like, yeah, cool, let's meet up.
Yeah.
So it just makes like when you're like, I'm a photographer, they're like, oh, I follow 7,000 photographers.
Yeah, that relates to dating on dating apps too. You're always gonna have it like in the back of your mind. There's something else better out there, right? And if you're seeing photography every day, like you're always gonna be blown away because everyone's trying to snap on social media.
Mm-hmm.
You know, your first 12 photos on your feed are the photos that matter the most. And if you make sure you curate your gallery that way, see, people are gonna be like, oh shit, and they just keep scrolling, you know. And that's why people have to like kind of change their perception on social media or whatever, and you know what I mean? Because some people just post like random shit. Like,
yeah, I think if you're trying to drive a certain creative thing, you shouldn't just post random shit. But I think a lot of people should get back to, if they're just living a normal life, just post whatever you want. Like, you don't have to curate your shit if you're really just living your organic life.
But why do you have to post that?
I don't know. Doesn't know what Instagram's for?
No,
I don't know. I don't know.
I mean,
that was
gotta
for
be
me.
some
For
mystery,
this is a question for you
know what I
guys.
mean?
Yeah, like, nah, Instagram.
Well, you use Instagram as an artist, so I think your point's kind of skewed towards artist point.
Yeah, I mean, it is definitely skewed.
I think if
don't
you're
wanna
just
put nothing up
a
there.
normal human that works at some job
Yeah.
and just wants to post that they were out with their friends, you don't have to like make sure that's at the top of your feed because it's like they can see whatever they want to see, you know?
True.
I mean, yeah, it was because like for a minute I was like, I look at my Instagram, I don't see no music. Like that's fucked up. Like I'm a musician, you know what I'm saying? I need to make all my shit music. You feel me? But like, yeah, if you're just a regular person for real.
Yeah, man. Lately, I've been trying to create before I consume, bro. Because you know how many times you wake up at 5, 6 a.m. and you end up getting out the bed at 8 because you're on Instagram.
Yeah.
Yes.
You got that little
I do it all
timer,
the
like
time.
you've been on there for 45 minutes and you skip the limit and you keep going. Dude, Instagram is terrible, man. Like I'm really trying not to. I really don't like it anymore.
Like
I ran into somebody at St. Alfred's today, dude. And like inevitably, I got in a conversation about photography, you know. And this is a cat that I knew just through the community that Instagram offered for photographers back then when it was only photography, bro. And I haven't had a conversation with anyone about this in a long time, man, because back then it was straight up like, yo, all of us are photographers. We're going out and shooting. And we're going to explore the city because you can post some sick shit the next day and fucking be featured by Instagram and have like 10,000 followers the next day. Next thing you know, you're a fucking content creator at Havas or some shit. And everyone inevitably have gone in that direction. So Instagram is now like, you don't really have that type of engagement within your own creativity, within the community, within like the camaraderie of like, yo, that's a sick photo. How'd you take that? Or you see someone, how they, you know, in person, how to do that. Like photo walks and all that shit. Man, Instagram is bunk.
Yeah, but that's
It's
very
all about
valid
Web3.
what you said. A lot of people blew up off Instagram And that made a lot of people flock to that thing to try to do the same thing. And when people do that, it just oversaturates it. We've seen that happen to so many things.
Yeah, dude.
We're like, oh, he came off of this. Let me just do that. Let me run it up.
And that's the
thing.
thing.
Then when everyone's trying to run it up,
Bro,
it's kind of oversaturated.
For sure, bro. And it's oversaturated with a lot more, like, I mean, from the people that I see that I, like, kind of, like, would meet in the streets and shit like that, you don't really see too much of their personal work that got them there. You know what I'm saying? It's more so I shot with this person, I did that, this is like this shoot with this production, blah, blah, blah. But like, how often do you post stuff like that, but you build an audience but they don't care about the stuff that got you there, you know? And I try to stay rooted with that.
Right.
Well, now it's all really based off hype and like you said, who's working with who likes it. I always use this like analogy about clothes because we talk about apparel a lot on the podcast. I wish at the beginning of every year, everyone solely had to walk into a warehouse full of clothes, pick your shit out by yourself without seeing trends, what anybody else is wearing. And you really got to stick with that for that year and wear it because you liked it, not because you saw somebody else like it, some other influencer influenced you to like it, or you're trying to ride a wave. That's your genuine what you liked. It'd be the same if you walked into a gallery one by one and people like, these are good photos, these aren't good photos, without seeing what everyone else is gravitating towards.
Yeah, dude, I don't care about whatever people gravitate towards, bro.
But
I
a
don't
lot of
care
people
about that
do.
shit, man. And
So
that's
a
why,
lot of times you do it subconsciously,
bro,
though.
dude,
That's the thing.
like I purposely post and share on my Instagram account to inspire other people that don't know anything about photography, because I don't want them to see, you know, like old photos of like this celebrity or that by people that I was inspired by. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So showing like I have a few people that like mentored into photography. You know what I'm saying? And I love sharing the art of it. You know what I'm saying? And showing that you don't have to like shoot that. You don't have to like be inspired or like motivated or influenced by what you see on your Instagram feed, because it's oversaturated by like Instagram bangers. You know what I'm saying? Like moody photos and stuff like that. Or like pick up a photo book, go to a gallery. You know what I'm saying? Like go to someone's portfolio on their website. You're not going to see like the same stuff you see on Instagram. The algorithm changed a lot of, you know, when it was chronological order, like it was a shit. But now like whatever you like is what you're going to see more of and so forth.
I still think it's a good tool for like gaining inspiration and seeing what's out there, though. I don't think it's like all bad. It's how you take it in.
I get a lot of inspiration from Instagram,
Yeah.
for sure. But I'm able to recognize that. You know
Yes.
what I mean? And I don't know, man. Maybe I'm just speaking more for myself, but like time after time, whenever I post something and I give like information on the camera that I used or talk about the photo or something like that, I always have more engagement. People hit me in DMs and they thank me for like, yo, I didn't know about that, or like, you know what I'm saying? A lot of people just like post something and you know, like, and like it sucks because Instagram is more like complimentary than more like constructive for photography. It's more emojis. That's dope. Fire emoji. What do you say to that? You know? So I tried to provoke more like a conversation with why I shot a photo, and that's why I have these photos up here, because I hope there's people here that are like wondering of why I shot the photo, or you know, question about anything, because that's what it's all about, is like trying to share the knowledge, you know. Never a master, always a student, you know. But to be a master, you have to be a student.
Yeah, I think it's dope that you're so willing to give up, you know, the camera, the lens, etc. And the one positive about Instagram is that you're able to really reach anybody. If someone wants to check their DMs, you can get a hold of anyone through that application, which is tight. And those people would have probably never had a conversation with you in general if it wasn't for that, because they probably don't even live here, or would have ran into you on the street or something like that.
Yeah, for sure, man. That was like one of my first experiences of New York City. Shoot, like I want to say like maybe like my 5th or 6th year as a flight attendant. Like when I first got introduced to like this whole Instagram street photography shit, I would literally wake up in the morning at like 5 a.m. look at the weather and see that it was like 15 degrees warmer in New York and hop on the first flight out. Backpack, 2 batteries, and shoot all day and then leave on the last flight out. And I remember my first time going out there, I reached out to these cats that were like doing some crazy shit. Like, you ever heard of Street Dreams Mag before?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Yeah, man. Shout out to Eric Valesso, Steve Sweatpants.
Didn't you have a feature in there before?
Yeah, man. And they
Bucket
like
list shit, man.
what's up,
Bucket list shit, honestly.
dude? It was sick at the time. Yeah, definitely bucket list
Yeah.
shit because the way you got featured was from like submitting your photo through a hashtag, and if someone found the photo, like whatever. But I was flying out there, man. I remember being like on the plane and like hitting somebody up, like, "Yo, can you take me on a rooftop? I'll give you a buddy pass." You know what I'm saying? This person was just like, in my mind, like super like snapping on the shit, like killing it, you know? And they responded like, "Yo, I can't take you. Like, I have an ACL injury, blah, 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 but go to this event. Like, you won't regret it." And it was a Street Dream Mags, like, gallery. And it, like, changed my fucking life, dog. I came back and I'm like, oh, shit, you don't have to, like, go on rooftops to, like, take dope photos. I don't even know people on rooftops.
Brother was the rooftop era, though.
Dude, yeah.
The shoes hanging off the rooftop.
Yeah,
you had to
man.
give him that for
I
sure.
remember those photos, dude. Those are fun
Get
experiences.
some Air
man.
Maxes in a rooftop.
Get them-
You're a
Yeah.
photographer
Get
now.
that Get it at fucking
For real,
Frank
dude.
151.
For real. And
You're
if
like,
you had-
you're really talented.
dude, it was real, man. Like, if you had access to that, you were the next one up. Like, straight up, dude. Like, all you had to do was, like, slap some moody ass preset, but you're on top of the fucking, like, Jewelers building. Oh, you guys Jewelers building downtown? Dude, the first time we went on Jewelers building, there was some guy doing this, like, stunt act, like, walking across the river on a tightrope. And I met these guys that were, like, going on this rooftop. Like, that earlier that day, we went on the top of, like, the Hard Rock Cafe or the Hard Rock Hotel, and we got kicked out. There were probably, like, 20 of us up there just taking pictures of this crazy sunset. And then they were doing construction on the Jewelers building, which is right next to this act, bro. And, like, went up there and, like, seeing the city from up that high was crazy as hell, dude. Like, all the people down there, this guy walking across the tightrope. And the reason why I was up there is because of the access. And, like, literally, like, I couldn't continue to go up there because people wouldn't want to take me up there. Like, you have to be tight with these cats. You know what I'm saying? So I just, like, stayed on the ground and got doper at, like, taking portraits of people that I knew and people that I didn't know and exploring the city. And, like, the highest I would go up would be, like, a fucking, like, parking structure, you know? And then people started to die from that stuff, bro. Like, there's a cat that fell off of a roof in New York, bro, like, during the rain, you know? Like, could have been any of us, you know?
Yeah.
So people started to come down to the ground, you know, and, like, starting more on the street. But once you're up there, you don't have a reason to go back. But you don't see that happen anymore because no one's doing it. You know what I mean? It's kind of like the oversaturated thing, you know?
I think it's the same as anything. There's trends. It felt like trends
Exactly.
up, down.
Yeah, yeah. What are some trends that you think are happening on Instagram or photography that you guys see on your feeds? What type of photography do you guys see on your feeds?
Man, cause like I'm a designer, so like I'm into all. I'll be looking at all like the little like tutorials that be on YouTube, like design trends of 2022 and shit like that, yo. So I don't know, man. I like I'll be looking at shit in the, like more of a designer standpoint. So like, you know when people do like the they have a photo and they have like the translucent glass and they have all their text and shit on there.
Oh, the what?
They'll have like their frame will be like a translucent piece of glass, like in a photo that you can like move around. And you can put your shit on there, like all your like layer of text on there and shit.
What?
Yeah, that's like the new trend that everybody doing. They start doing it in like apps, like your menu would pop out that way and be a piece of translucent glass.
Oh, you're
I don't think I've
talking
ever
more
seen that
about like
before.
editing shit.
Yeah,
The
talk
way you
about
edit the
trends
photo.
and shit.
Yeah.
Videos?
Nah, photos.
And like
Photos?
on top of your photo, like you know what I'm saying? Like you'll have your photo and you have like a piece of like translucent glass, and that's what you lay your text on.
Nah, I never seen that before.
That's 2022 trends, baby.
Damn. Hey, send me the DM.
I want to catch up, bro.
Send me the DM. man.
I think it's best for you not to see that shit.
Dude,
True.
dude,
Just be
I,
yourself.
Just
For
don't
real.
look. Yeah.
I'm like
real.
I'm really inspired by design shit now, man.
Mhm.
Like I love this mixed media approach to my photography, man. Like I started developing film this year, you know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask you. Like, did you just started doing it?
dude, yeah. Like I went backwards, bro. Like all the photographers that I meet, like they started shooting film with their grandfather's camera and shit. They don't shoot digital because they rock that. I started with video and then went to digital photography, then went to film, and I still haven't even printed in the darkroom before, bro. So this summer, like or last summer, has been fucking amazing. Like getting my hands dirty in the darkroom. and then
Chicago
making
has a lot of
collages
great
and
access
stuff.
for that.
What's up?
Chicago has a lot of great access for that. There's like community dark rooms.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
'cause
I didn't know that.
The good homie Matt Perez, shout out always. He's really involved in that.
Dude,
He
I've been
develops
trying to
all
go
his own shit.
with that dude so many times, Matt. I know you go on Wednesdays, man. He goes every Wednesday, bro, and I'm like, yo, you going? Like every time I ask him, he doesn't go. I need to go there. I haven't seen it before, man. I have a good friend, Katie Tooman. She has a private dark room, but I'm just snoozing on it, bro. Like,
Dark room
I'm
shit's
sure
not
as
easy.
soon as I go and see that chemical, like, expose a photo,
Yeah, like
that
it's
I thought,
different.
like, I'm gonna be hooked.
It's really different. Like I took darkroom when I was like in school and shit, cause I'm like a designer and shit. But like, is when you actually like doing it. Like I never knew what burn and dodge really meant. Yo, I just knew burn make your shit darker.
Dog, I learned
You know
that
what I'm
on
saying?
the computer.
Yeah, exactly. Like I learned it from.
I don't
the
even know how to
computer,
do that,
learning
like
where
on the fucking actual.
everything come from
thing.
is cool as hell, man.
Yeah. I learned that shit the hard way. I used to do photography on this old ass Pentax in high school, and we would like develop them shits in the dark room. That shit is not easy, bruh.
Pentax.
Yeah, my shit be coming out too dark. My shit be coming out too light, bro.
Yeah, man.
It wasn't for me for sure. It was
Dude,
short
I
lived.
know that as soon as I tap into that, I'm about to go like off the deep end with that shit and just like sell all my digital cameras or some shit.
Fuck yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But like, it's definitely something that I need to do. And I just know how I am. Like with the film stuff, bro, I went crazy, bro. Like I spent so much money on like film, just testing out different film stocks, you know, and, like messing like developments up and like getting a camera. I mean, the feeling of like being able to develop your own film like the same day, it was so sick.
Yeah, I think overall it's going to bring you such a deeper sense of like gratitude towards your own work, especially shooting street photos. You're not going to know what you got till you see it, which is so much different than walking away and being like, that's it.
Yeah.
You're going to have to sit, wait till the roll's up. Because I used to shoot a lot with Matt, just kind of dorking around. Never took it seriously. But when you know you got some heat, but you still got 12 photos left, you're like, damn, let me just shoot whatever because I need to see this shit for
Nah,
real.
bro, that's when you make sure the other 12 are too.
Nah, I would just
like,
have to
I
rush
still
through it.
haven't gotten a roll of film where I'm like, every photo was ill. Like, like there's always like one or two there in there.
But it comes with the heartbreak too when you thought you got something sick and you develop it and it's trash.
yeah, it's either because like, you know, like the settings are wrong or your focus is wrong, but I begin to learn that like I have to make sure that my chemicals aren't like old, you know what I mean? 'Cause sometimes like I'll develop a roll and like I know everything's like exposed,
Yeah, that's where I was fucking up.
but yeah, my chemicals were exhausted or something and like it didn't expose anything, you know, or like I open up the camera when I'm like, oh shit, I didn't know there's a roll of film in there, and still shoot on it, you know what I mean?
Yeah, sometimes
So
you can
many
get cool
variables.
stuff from that though, because it just exposes different and it looks cool. It's a cool little nuance
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
I'm really happy for you that you're exploring that different avenue. That's tight.
Yeah,
so I'm
man.
sure certain things to you got a little stale where you're like, yeah, let's keep doing the same thing.
Yeah.
Let me switch it up a little bit.
Yeah, yeah. That's why like the design
Yeah.
stuff is like of interest, man. Like
Yeah,
I
'cause, like,
love looking at other design elements with photography and, you know, like I don't know.
Yeah, it's like once you get to
collage
a
work
certain
and stuff.
point, it get like challenging to try to even figure out like what you want to do next. You know what I'm saying?
Say it again?
I said like once you get to a certain point, you've been doing shit for a certain amount of years. It gets like it's like challenging to try to even figure out what I want to do next.
Oh, for sure,
You know what I'm
man.
saying?
I've been in and out of those creative ruts, bro. Like I just got out of one, man. That pandemic killed me.
For real. Yeah, and it's the worst thing in the world, like trying to get out of a creative rut. Like,
I think you can't try to get out of it. You got to let that shit just
but
happen.
like
naturally.
you be
'Cause
trying,
you be trying
you
to
can't
force
help
it
but
so
to try.
bad.
Wait, so the pandemic didn't inspire you more?
Hell no, dude.
That's wild.
Well, cause yeah,
I
cause
mean-
you do street photography. You need people outside. You need people doing shit.
A lot of those
Yeah,
deserted cities
true.
and streets could have been really amazing photo opportunities, though.
What's up?
I mean,
A
for the
lot of those
first one.
deserted
That's what I was kind of
cities.
saying.
That's right,
That's
yeah.
what I kind of meant.
I was
Like,
scared to go out there, bro. I wasn't
feel
trying
that.
to.
True.
was, too.
Yeah, it was really ugly at first. I always
that.
forget.
It was like that, man. If you were out there and you got those shots of the streets empty, like you're definitely like going down in history as like one of the bravest people.
Yeah, dude, people were wiping down bags of chips. And shit. Yeah, I was like, don't
I
know,
definitely
man. I'm just gonna
was.
eat 'em.
I was.
Man.
I was wearing gloves to the grocery store.
Yo,
Was
I've
too,
been there,
bro.
bro. I remember my first
Surgical
time trying to
gloves.
pull
You got the leather acne gloves. Talking about I'm gonna give it to him if I got to.
Give it to him. I'm gonna do it.
my first time trying to put on a K95 mask with glasses on. I couldn't see it, bro.
The glasses and the mask is crazy. I'm blind regardless. It's like fuck it.
Hey, man, I still gotta wear them on the planes, bro. It sucks
I'm sorry.
all day.
Yo, correct me if I say this wrong, but we were chopping it up the other day at Easy, and you said something really cool that like stuck with me about photography. And you were talking about people starting out. My bad. It's people starting out and like feeling insecure about it, and like being afraid to call themselves a photographer. And I think you said something just like, if you bought a camera and you're taking pictures, then you're a photographer, and own it. Was that basically what you were saying?
Is that what I said?
I think that's what you were saying. It was very positive.
It sounds like something I would say, right?
There's this thing
I did say
circulating
that.
on
I
Instagram
did
where
say
it's
that.
like-
I was hoping you would ask me what I said. But dude, to elaborate on that, bro, I love the fact that you remembered that.
Yeah.
Man. And I hope that inspires you to pick up that fucking that Pentax and shit, or find a Pentax, man, because
I'm good, but
hey, yo,
But I love you.
not even hey, you never know, man. You might fall back in love with it. You know what I'm saying?
No, I hear you.
You might find a deeper purpose for it. But I think that's one of the things that some people like have a hard time, like, I guess, coming to terms with when it comes to having a camera or like taking pictures. Like, yeah, you're a photographer. Like, who cares about what the title is?
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you feel this? You're human. You're human. You know what I mean? Like, no, I don't feel none. I ain't human.
Yeah, sometimes people need the title though. People seek validity so much,
Dude, and
so they need to put a title on everything they do. When really you can just do whatever you're doing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it sucks,
It
dude.
doesn't need to be. You need to be that thing now.
It
You can
sucks.
just do a bunch of things.
Instagram
But
is
you
a
don't
big
gotta
part
be
of that,
so
man.
short, you know what I mean?
Dude, Instagram, social media is a big part of that. I met so many people just being out and about, and they're like, yo, like, I'm on Instagram, but I don't really post anything. Like, or I'm like, oh, shit, it's all good. Like, I post my photography. Maybe you'll be inspired by it or something.
Yeah,
Like, I don't
for sure.
post, like, things that I eat on my feed type stuff. You know what I'm saying? But, like, everyone's a photographer with, like, every day, like, with their iPhones.
Yeah, and that
You
just
know?
kind of everyone can be whatever they're trying to be, but you don't have to be put in that box. And that's kind of what I'm saying. Just because you do something for a little bit doesn't mean, oh, now I'm this as well. Just do it if you feel inspired to do it.
Dude,
and I think that hinders a lot of people from doing creative things. Is they're like, well, if I do this and it's not good, people think I'm not good at this thing.
Yeah,
but
they
what
play
does
the
it
whole-
matter?
yeah,
Just
they
do
play
it.
the whole
matter.
modesty
It doesn't
role,
matter,
you know?
man. When people ask me like how long I've been doing photography, I date that to the year I bought my first camera. Like, I was a
Yes, that's one thing
photographer
you
when I
said,
bought
yes.
my first camera. Like, that's when I became a photographer. Like, do you become like a photographer when you get paid to do it? Like, I was doing this shit for years before I was able to get paid for it. But like, I root it back to like when I first bought my camera, and because I feel like it's a valid point. You know what I mean? Like, when did you get your Instagram account?
Yeah, I
You
think
became
if,
a photographer. Like,
I think if you're
it
talking
just
about
becomes
it
a
on a
title.
professional
You don't
level,
even
it'd
get
come
it,
down to
yeah.
like when you got compensated for your time.
yeah, I think like
Then you could be considered a professional at that thing.
Man, no. As soon as I feel like you become a professional as soon as you understand how to use a camera. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
I love that.
You
It's
don't
more
have
of
to
a
be-
mentality thing, but yeah, I guess just on paper was what I'm saying.
Technically,
Yeah.
I think you're a professional when you have a complete understanding of something. You don't have to necessarily be monetarily like compensated to be a professional for something.
And also, before I even know who it is, shout out this person. Who was the first person or company that paid you for a photograph? Or a roundabout. You don't have to get the very.
Shit. It's a good question, bro. I don't know, man. Maybe like my brother. Maybe like bought me a shot for shooting his wedding or something like that.
That's
You
wild,
know?
Tori. That's a wild. That's not what I was talking.
Dude, I don't know, man. I literally don't
Shout out
know.
your brother for sure.
You know, like, shit.
I just know you've worked for a lot of big corporate companies like Hennessy, and if I'm getting these liquor brands wrong, my bad. But Cavassier, I know you shot shit with them.
Damn, both?
Huh?
No loyalty.
No NDAs.
What'd you say
Get your
now?
money.
What'd you say now?
Who was the first company to really reach out and be like, hey, we like your work. Here's a check.
The first company, bro. Dude, I don't know. I really don't know, man.
Well, I hope you
Sorry.
appreciated the check.
Yeah, I can't remember that.
Well,
I don't like to remember things like that, man. Like my mind doesn't like really work that way. Like, you know, people like they open up a business and they have their first dollar that they earn type shit. Like, I don't have like anything on my wall or like my portfolio where it's like, damn, that's like I have the first self-portrait that I have of myself. The first mirror portrait that I have of myself, because that's why I picked up a camera, bro. I remember shit like that, you know? Like, I'll remember
Yeah,
maybe
that go
like
hard.
looking at like
fucking invoices or some shit. But back then I wasn't creating invoices. It was like, yo, just throw me some cash like for this fucking picture that I took of you. You know, I don't really think like that, man. It sucks, but maybe it doesn't suck.
So what are you looking at moving forward? What's your 2020 on to 23 goals?
Man, I'm trying to see the world, dude. I'm trying to get back to traveling. I'm trying to get back out there with my camera, build a body of work, dude. This experience with the Hoxton was really cool, man. Coming into this, like I was also like dabbling into like NFTs at the time, so I was already looking at my archive and curating for that. So I already had like photos selected that I knew that I wanted to eventually like sell and have collectors own. But moving forward, like I feel like it's the time of my career to have like a solo exhibit, whether that happens this year or next year. But up until that happens, I just want to continue being out and experiencing the world, man. Like waking up every day and be able to shoot it along the way is the only way for me, dog. Like straight up, you know what I'm saying? Like this pandemic really fucked me up, man. Like it brought me down to a low point because I wasn't even flying on the planes, you know? Like I was stuck in a city that I knew very well, you know? So I just want to go out and just take pictures, bro. Like whatever happens along the way is what's going to happen, dude. Like all these companies and stuff that I shoot for, I didn't expect it to happen, bro. I just wanted to go out and take pictures. That's it. That's all I ever want to do.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, yeah.
And I really hope
That's all I will do.
you end up getting that together. And just from like me to you as someone who's just really fucked with you for a long time, I hope when you get the solo show, you put your energy into it because you have a very unique personality, which I love. So I hope you put yourself into that show where that comes across.
For sure, man.
And you really get your point into
For
it.
sure, dude. Yeah, I wanna bring on like a panel discussion. I want to have like some workshops involved. You know, like I would love to have some type of like community like building experience with it, man, because I feel like coming from like the b-boy community, man, it's very important for me to be around other people that are manifesting the same motives and shit. You know what I'm saying? I've met several photographers who don't even like really know their fullest like potential because they don't know any other photographers, you know, and it's a very important element to that, man. Like having like a photo swap or something like that, or photo critique or something. You know what I mean? Like I don't want it to just be about me at the exhibit. Like I want to be able to inspire people through the experience of like, yo, I took a photo like that too. What do you think of this or something? I don't know, man.
Yeah, I think that opens it up to what I was saying. I feel like you've always been a very social person. And so if you do things like that, that kind of all plays into that part of your personality.
Yeah, man.
So kind of speaking of that, while we got some more time, if there's anyone that has any questions for Tori, we can open it up.
Sounds good. I had my back turned to this thing the entire time. Maybe I can just like go through and if no one has questions.
Yeah. Prospectively, what makes you not take the photo?
Of like street stuff.
Anything. By pressing the button. What makes you say no?
Damn. That's a really good one. Yeah, that's a good one, bro. Because I'm trying to like think of all the other times that I've said no. And one of the like biggest like gifts as a photographer is like the ability to say yes, right? So I've said yes a lot more times than I've said no. But man, dude, I used to take pictures of like homeless people, and then I started like talking with them and like hearing more about like them, and I'm like, nah, like that's too easy of a photo to take. When it's down and out, that's most of the time when I say no. And when I'm out shooting with like one of like my most like amazing like mentees, Santi, shout out to Santi. He'll take pictures of like homeless people. I'm like, nah, bro, don't do that. It's too easy. You know what I'm saying? So that's usually the time when I say no, is when it's like I said, taking advantage of someone through a photo, you know? Or if it doesn't have any meaning or a story behind it, or if it's like someone that's like fake. One of the times I usually say no is like if someone asks me to take a group photo of them, I usually don't push the button until I say, yo, why do you guys look so miserable? Boom, and they start laughing. That's when I take the picture.
How do you find that balance between like being in the moment? Because I know you're always looking for like a picture moment? How do you find that balance being like in the moment of like a different country and like focusing on like, oh my God, where's the moment, or like where's the picture I'm gonna get? How do you find that?
Well, it all depends on like what is happening. Like I said, it takes usually like a 24 to 72 hours to actually warm up to see the commonality even within their culture and how they move. And you know, just off rip, like it's like I usually don't take the picture for a while, but finding that balance between that and damn, I totally got lost my answer. But living in the sorry, can you rephrase your question? Sorry, or say it again.
You know how you got lost in Japan, like because
Yeah.
you're so focused on like getting the right picture.
Yeah.
How do you kind of like step out of like your camera and being like, you know, at a concert you don't want to be on your phone.
Yeah.
Kind of like that same analogy of like how do you live in the moment but also capture the right moment.
Well, I mean, like speaking in the past, like I always lived out of that moment, you know, because I was shooting digitally, you know, like learning like how to shoot film recently, like really gave me the ability to be more present. Like I have a digital camera with me. It's in my bag. Like I have a Polaroid with me. Like you only get 8 shots on a Polaroid. So you have to be more selective of what you're going to take photos of. And in Japan, like I didn't even know I was taking a picture of anything good. You know what I mean? I was just taking pictures of everything because everything was like all in my face. You know what I mean? Like, whoa, this is crazy. Like I'm taking pictures of everything. And every time I would leave, I'm like, damn, I don't want to do that. You know? And other experiences of like losing all those photos from Japan has also like put me into the place of being more selective, of trying to live in the moment. And you know, and trying to anticipate, like going out with like a certain idea of what I'm focusing on. Like you may have seen it like up there, like where there's photos of like no one's faces involved. And it was like a project series that I was working on. It was like from the neck down and trying to tell stories without including someone's face. So when I'm out, like there's days where like I can be taking like people are like the weather will be nice, you know, and everyone's like wilding out, or there's like a festival or something, you know what I mean? And there's pictures everywhere. There's other days where you go out and you're like, damn, I'm not getting anything. Having a project or a series to like fall back on, to pay attention to, is what can tap you back into that like other creative like mindset, you know? So like a certain color, or you're paying attention to motion, you know what I mean? So having like an idea of what you want to shoot before you go out to shoot it is what helps me like stay more focused and not just like, you know, shooting and spraying and hoping to get something. That's a great question.
That was a good question.
What's the first trip, bro? Where are we going?
Where are we at? Fulton Market, right?
Where are we going, though?
Oh, where are we gonna go?
Yeah, what's the first trip?
New York City, man. Yeah, New York City.
After that.
You were talking internet.
Not giving him what he's looking for.
Yeah, bro. Oh man.
Crazy answer,
Yo.
like Albany Park.
No, the other way.
You mean like over the pond?
Yeah, anywhere, bro.
Man, I've been looking at Portugal, bro. We're looking at Lisbon.
Redemption.
Yeah, we have to make it back out there, dude. Yeah, Portugal and Barcelona is kind of what I've been looking at, trying to bang those two together. Dude, obviously as soon as Japan opens, boom.
Just never.
Could be hopeful. But I don't know, man. Like I say Portugal because it's like off the beaten path, you know, and it's warmer over there, right? Has anyone in here been to Portugal before? Okay. Castletown, Mediterranean.
All drugs are legal there, also. Right.
Dude, I would
Very
like to
sick.
say, like, realistically,
I'm gonna stay here.
realistically.
Very cool information.
Also in Berlin, too. Berlin is another bit. Oh, wow, this photo isn't even supposed to be in here.
Oh, hey. That's the club.
What up, player?
That's when he worked at the pop-up at Emporium. Remember that? Bro?
Yes,
I think we
sir.
all remember that time.
Dude, Mexico City or Cuba?
Nice.
Easy one shot.
Mexico City. Yeah, that's a one-shot deal. Any other questions?
I know y'all got some questions. Yeah.
Is there a location, a city, country, anything overseas where you can just like go to all the time and never get tired of it?
Dude, Europe is for sure. Yeah, it's the most accessible. Going to Japan takes like 13 hours nonstop from Chicago, but Europe is a quick, like, what was it, like 7 hours, 8 hours? It's quick, you know. And then you could pop around, go other places from there within like 45 minutes to an hour. But definitely Europe, man. Like, shout out to all my European homies. I'm coming to stay on the couch soon. Soon, like, seriously. Like, that's not a joke. Like, I have at least 6 months to build a body of work before my next show, man. And I want to at least go to the same place like more than once, you know, instead of trying to like just hit other cities, you know. But
Keep those bonds and relationships up, you know.
dude, yo, your net worth is your network, bro.
Yes, sir.
Straight up. So, like, Holland is definitely one of the places I love going to, man. Amsterdam, Rotterdam, Heerlen, like all the other like smaller cities, like those are like the places that I like going to the most. It took me forever to go to London, but and since I've gone, I would love to go back. You know, have you ever been to London before? Dude, London's sick. But it's overwhelmingly sick, you know? Like, their accent is just like, what? What'd you say? Sorry, I'm trying to take a picture. Sorry. Yeah, I want to make some chicken McNuggets. Sorry. But yeah, man, I would say, like, Europe is definitely one of those places, man. Besides Japan, obviously.
When are you going to shoot the motherland?
Facts.
Ooh, man, that's a good question, bro. Yeah, shoot. Maybe this year, man. I don't know. Plug me with the people that you know there. I know you went there. I know you spent some time there. Let me like introduce me to some people, man. I like going to places where I know people. You know, I know that I'll make friends there, but having the plugs on like what to do, where to go, like I don't like doing like the touristy
You
kind
don't
of
like
things.
though? You don't like going somewhere and being, like I say, not taking a vacation, but taking a trip where you go and it's like, you know you're gonna be uncomfortable. Like you don't know what you're saying. It's gonna be really uncomfortable.
Of course.
What's the last uncomfortable trip you had?
Israel.
Israel?
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, Israel was definitely one of those places where I was like, this is definitely not what I expected. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was, yeah, we can get into that later, but I know we might be running out of time. What's up?
Do you find inspiration outside of photography in the film world or the audio world, whether it be podcasting, musicians, fine artists, performance artists, and do you draw inspiration and pull that into your work? Who are these people, entity, etc.?
Yeah, man. I've ironically enough, Instagram has been a pretty dope resource for that, man. I've been trying to like curate my feed to be generated around like less photography, like less like crappy photography, you know, or like I guess like trendy photography, and more like the design stuff. Like whenever like I see a dope ad or a dope photo from an actual like musician or celebrity or artist, like I want to dive deeper into who the photographer is, you know. So if I don't see like the photographer tagged, I'll go and ask like, yo, who's the photographer, just to kind of put the person on blast and to find out. But dude, there's these cats from where are they from, man? I want to say they're from like Serbia or something like that, man. They're just on some like really crazy design, like mixed media stuff where they incorporate like different like texturizing and like distortions and stuff like that, but including photography in it. Like they did some sick ass like campaign with like Earl Sweatshirt, and it was like there's like these two brothers, and I ended up like ordering. No, they're from Croatia. I ended up ordering like this zine from like this like creative studio out there, 46 pages, and seeing like how their other like photo elements are involved with that is like really blowing my mind right now, man. Because I don't know how to do that stuff. I know how to take the picture, but I don't know how to like add like more of like a design element to it. And dude, like my best friend Matt, dude, he's been ahead of the game on that, and I'm finally starting to catch up to what he saw, like when we were doing like all the other campaigns with the brand, Kings Without Crowns, you know. So
Shout out Kings Without Crowns, by the way.
100%.
Are you into more architectural work with your photography moving forward?
Dude, I love environmental photography for sure.
Or as far as,
Architectural.
like, designing the portrait as you're taking it. That's what I meant.
sorry, what?
As far as like designing the portrait as, you know, I know you said you, this newer company, they're doing these incredible new designs within just taking the portrait itself. So are you having that type of mythology in the back of your head when you're taking your next photo?
Oh yeah, for sure, bro. Like, I've become more comfortable with like taking like more than just one good photo. You know, like a client would be like, "Yo, we only want 10 photos. I'll send them 20." Or carousels on Instagram only allow 10 pictures. I'm gonna try to blend like 30 dope photos into one. I want to take pictures of the up close like detail shots. I want to take a wide, mid-range, close-up shot. I want to get some blur in there. I want to get some like shots of like the environment that's around and blend that into a collage. But the way that these guys do that, like in like these like, I don't know, these publications or whatever, like this book that I have is like, it looked like a double exposure, but it'll be like just a portion of something like mixed in like in the perfect place. So yeah, I'm definitely thinking like more on like a detailed level of how I can incorporate like this entire room into the story, you know? But yeah, dude, that's actually really dope. I mean, I don't even know anyone that does that kind of stuff, so I'm like just going based off of like what I see online, you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
Got any other questions?
I think we're good. Just to reiterate,
Yeah.
this has been a special edition of the Face Value podcast. We drop the actual podcast every Monday. You can look for that on all streaming services and YouTube.
Yep.
I want to say a special thank you to you, Tori. I appreciate you as
Tori,
a friend
man, we
and as
love
a
you,
guest.
baby.
Yes.
Thank you to Nathan Jackson, Perry Lomax, and the
Man.
Hoxton for having us here and hosting us. And thank you to everyone that took time out of their day to spend a little bit with us. And let's have a good night.
Yes, sir.
Peace, y'all.
Yes.
Thanks.
Thanks to everyone for coming through. You guys are dope for being here. Thank you for